Null Nun and Blooming Dogwood is definitely going to be important in the future, especially when you gain over 15,000 life points minimum if your opponent does the full Rongo combo, and usually way more. With that in mind, it can single-handedly stop an entire combo deck's turn and can put them in check. This definitely sounds similar to Maxx, but is this card really Maxx 2.0? Also, why is this card so degenerate in time? In today's video, you're about to find out my opinion on both of these questions and more. So to understand why this card is going to be so good, we obviously need to know its effect. So, it's a level 3 water zombie tuner effect monster with 0 attack and 1800 defense and the following effect. You can only use the effect of this card's name once per turn. Quick effect, you can discard this card, apply this effect for the rest of this turn. Each time your opponent special summons an effect monster during the main phase or battle phase, you gain life points equal to the current attack of that monster. If you do not gain life points with this effect, have your life points during the end phase. So to start, it has an effect that applies for the rest of this turn. This is crazy, as any hand trap that has this clause can automatically become something to keep in mind. Some examples are Lancia, Droll and Lockbird, and obviously Maxx. But what's so interesting about Null is the fact that it gains you life points. This is actually a very well thought out hand trap. Sure, it does have the half your life points clause, but in the grand scheme of things, you should always be chaining this card to a card that non-inherently special summons a monster, much like Maxx. But getting back to why it's interesting that it gains life points out of all things can be summarized like this. If your opponent is playing Rongo and you activate this card, if your opponent doesn't have a Call by the Grave, then usually you get another turn. Why, you may ask? Even if your opponent has 6 materials, considering you can use this at any point, if they keep pushing and you activate this card in response to a non-inherent special summon like Space Connector on Aqua Dolphin, for example, you've gained at least over 15,000 life points. After doing the math on a basic Goki combo, if you use this card in response to Headbat in hand, you gain exactly 15,500 life points. However, this is the very bare bone combo, and usually you're going to try and go for 6 materials with Rongo, which gives you more life points. While yes, Goki can push for damage very efficiently, in 2 turns that's honestly not as much time as you would think, when in the end you have 23,500 life points. If you have that many life points, then can your opponent OTK at that point? For most going first combo decks, no. Sure, if you have a few turns, then you can kill them over time, but that's quite an immense amount of life points, especially when your opponent can have disruption that helps mitigate the damage. The only thing that really makes Null kinda useless against Rongo is if they also made Gumblar. If your opponent can keep sniping out all of your hand, then that can stall them enough time to continue and finish the match for their victory. So just be wary. Clearly this card is amazing against combo decks. As long as your deck can break the board within a few turns, your deck still has the ability to play. Of course, this card is also the definitive counter against any FTK deck that burns. So for example, this card stops Danger FTK, whether with Firewall or their Slash Draw FTK variant. The big thing I think is interesting about this card, however, is really its ability to mind game. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, for example, if I'm playing against Thunder Dragons, this card either stops their entire turn or it will give you additional turns to survive. You're easily gaining over 10,000 life points if they commit to a board of 3 fusions, considering they're all big monsters. However, if they stop their turn, then they're put at a massive disadvantage because they're essentially doing nothing. The last option is to go quote-unquote halfway. So for example, 2 Colossus with resources in hand. This doesn't give your opponent as much life, but you can still set up a decent board. With all of these options, it's really tricky what to do, and it really depends on the rest of your hand. I would say against control decks, this card isn't that great, considering decks like Sky Striker and Altergeist. However, combo/combo control decks that summon many monsters, including Thunder Dragons, Rongo, even Prank Kids, etc., are all prone to this hand trap and really make you question what to do. The last big key point with this card that I can think of at the moment is the time rules. So essentially, if you're siding this card, you 100% can side this in time. Against any combo deck I just mentioned, you practically win the match if it's time. And again, the only counter is Call by the Grave. It's so crazy how bonkers this is in time, especially when there's 2 minutes left. You activate this card in response to a special summon, so you're guaranteed another turn, and from there you win the duel because your opponent probably won't get another turn considering how long decks usually take to play each turn. So is this card Maxx 2.0? There are definite distinctions between the two cards and many similarities. However, this card is better against burn FTK strategies, and Maxx is good all around. I feel this card is definitely an amazing replacement in the TCG to counter combo decks, but it won't be a main deck staple unless the format says otherwise. In the OCG, it might be different because sure, this card can stop them, but at the same time, Maxx can also technically do the same thing depending on what your opponent does, and with all of that in mind, Maxx is generically better against more decks, so maybe Null won't be as relevant in the OCG. However, with combo decks like Rongo still being relevant in the TCG, I definitely think Null will find a place in the TCG as a really good side deck option. It won't be a main deck staple, however, unless the format says otherwise. If we're playing a Spiral Tier 0 format where Spiral was literally taking 29 slots out of a top 32 of a YCS, then this card would be amazing in the main deck to absolutely counter that strategy. But this card is terrible against control decks and 100% amazing against any combo S deck, and 100% will see side deck play in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoy. Comment down below with what card you guys want to see next, and your comment might just be featured in the next video. Well, probably not the next video. We have a lot of cards coming up that I need to talk about, so actually, we're probably going to be talking about new cards in February. Like, I'm not even joking. The rest of this month is basically booked with card reviews that I need to get out of the way. However, besides that, if you guys want to comment down below with what card you want to see after this, it could literally be anything, just like the Bubble Man video where I talk about Bubble Man. You can literally comment down below with whatever card you want to see, and I might just make it into a video. If you guys want to support me further than just watching my YouTube videos, go down into the description and support me on Patreon. It helps out quite immensely. As well, if you guys want to join me and other members of the BladeYGO community further than just the YouTube comment section and get awesome updates on me, the stream, maybe sometimes you get to chill with me and other members of the BladeYGO community, go down into the description and join my Discord server. I'd love to have you guys there. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and with that, I hope to see you soon.